Hi, everyone. It's Dina Nina Martinez here. Thank you for joining me today. I'm really excited about today. We're going to have a conversation with this amazing friend of mine. I've known her for, I think, 10 years now. I met her because she asked me to come on her TV show, Authentic You. And it was really fun. So we've been friends ever since, and I just adore her. So I'm really excited to get into that. Before we do, make sure that if you haven't followed me at Dina Nina Martinez on Instagram, Facebook, all the places. And also you can go to DNMPowered.com to find out more about conscious coaching and working with me and all that stuff. So without further ado, let me bring in my guest. I'm getting there. There we go. She has been everywhere on everything, and she is a best-selling author. And Michelle Arbeau.
Hi. You're so professional. This is it's really cool. It's like I didn't know you had this all going on for yourself, girl.
I mean, wow. I'm fancy-ish.
I guess. Wow. You have to teach me some tricks.
We'll do that. We'll do that. So, Michelle, you are the #1 celebrity numerologist.
Yes, I am. I have that claim to fame. I actually got the O1 visa when I first moved to the U.S., so I had to prove I was top in my field. So
yes, I love it. So you live in Los Angeles now.
Yes.
I miss her. Tell her hi. So tell me a little bit about how you got into numerology.
Well, interesting story, because I started in corporate HR banking, and it was like, I hated it because I was good at it, but I hated it. It was just like grueling to go to work every day. So, I knew it wasn't really my passion, but I went into business and I did the whole thing because I wasn't really spiritual. It wasn't really something that I grew up with. I wasn't religious or anything like that. My mom didn't take me to church or, anything like that. So I was always outward focused, like career and all that stuff. So it wasn't until about my early 20s that I started to dream in numbers, and it was this weird phenomenon. I mean, not being spiritual, I was like, what is going on? Why am I dreaming numbers every night? So I kept writing these numbers down, these number sequences, and they were on street signs and license plates, doors, you name it. They were everywhere in my dreams, and I couldn't figure out why whoever or whatever was sending these to me, what the message was. So it went on for about 3 or 4 months, and then I started to research numbers, and I found a book on numerology, and every single one of the number sequences were answers to issues that I had going on in my life at the time. So it was amazing. It just blew my mind. I was floored. And, in hindsight, I guess numbers were always my thing because I was in HR banking, but also in school, I was in enriched math, and I used to have a photographic memory for numbers. So if someone told me a bank card, or, I got a new bank card, or they gave me an address or a phone number, I'd remember it. Like I would have it in my head. So it was something about numbers all along. And I think a lot of people who are mental focused or very mentally oriented, they tend to see numbers more than other people who are more feeling. So I think that's just my way, but it's also my passion and purpose, obviously, because it came a lot stronger than just picking up a numerology book. So it was really cool.
I love it. So not being spiritual at that time, did you find spirituality within that?
I did. I really did, because I had a near-death experience when I was 4, but that was, early on in my childhood. So it really didn't. I kind of still grappled with it. It was something that I really didn't go there or think about often, even though it was a very vivid memory. It was something that I really couldn't understand because I wasn't spiritual. So what I experienced, I really couldn't explain to myself. But as I got more into the spirituality side of numerology and all the stuff that took me in that direction too, I realized that near-death experience was something very powerful. And I ended up having 2 more later in life, but
my word.
Yeah, someone's trying to kill me off over there, but they're not having much success.
Well, I'm thankful for that. So we met when you were doing Authentic UTV,
Mm-hmm.
and you had me on there, and I
Yes.
rewatched it again, and I was like, I looked terrible.
You did not. We stopped. You always look cute.
Um, what have you been up to kind of just recently?
Well, you know me. I have to have 5,000 projects on the go. So, I'm reinventing the wheel with my network. I've got a fourth book. It's kind of been a sitting duck with the publisher just because of the COVID thing and all that. But, and I'm also writing a fifth book. So, I'm always doing all these various projects. I'm kind of revamping my own style, my own way of presenting the numbers as well, because we've been going through so many changes globally that people are looking for more. They're looking for, it's a phenomenal movement. I mean, the fact that we're alive and breathing at this point in history, we're blessed to be, a part of this. And I find people are just wanting to cut through all of the, the self-help stuff, do step 1, 2, 3, 4, and you'll be fixed. They're like, yeah, just fix me. Tell me what to do and I'll do it. And, so they're kind of getting in desperate mode. So I've gotten a lot more requests for readings one-on-one, and I'm not really fond of that because it drains my energy. But so I'm really kind of looking towards doing more group sessions, more, one-off things like that, because it's a lot less draining. And I know, because you do a lot of coaching too, and it can be, especially now with people suffering and people really being challenged, that it just is like sucks your energy sometimes. I'm like, where's the chocolate afterwards, right?
Always.
Right.
I love it. So we are very similar in that, like, I always have to have like a million projects going on to keep.
Yeah. I mean, life's too short. You got to keep going, right? Keep hustling.
True.
I'm a
hustler. So yeah, totally me too. In certain parts of my life in a whole different way than you mean it, but that's a different story.
Only you would say that.
I mean, only I would say that, of course. So let's talk about when you saw 2020 coming beforehand. What were the numbers informing you prior to, and what did you kind of decipher post pandemic beginning?
Okay. Well, first of all, just looking at 2020, I was somewhat excited, but also apprehensive, because it's a twofold energy. 2020, it adds to 22, and it's actually a master number, 22/4, because 2 + 2 is 4. So we write it as 22/4 because we want to look at both sides of the spectrum, both sides of the numbers. And with that, it's called the master builder. So it is about building and change and all, building your empire. So it is about massive change. So I knew massive change was coming, but also 4 is the energy of foundation shifting. So rocking your foundation. And boy, did we get a foundation rocking. I mean, we definitely saw, obviously, a huge shift in our foundation, the way that we live our life, the way that we are operating, all of it. I mean, it was huge. So I knew that because it wasn't just a 4-year, it was a master number, a master builder, it was going to be really huge, really powerful. And the fact that we have the people we do in office, I was still getting over that fact. I knew it wasn't all going to be good. It wasn't all going to be, rainbows and butterflies, because the foundation shifting was coming from, part and parcel from who was in office and what was going on globally and all that stuff. So, I kind of had an inkling that things weren't going to be easy street. It was going to be a challenge, but I didn't realize it was going to be this big of a challenge. I mean, we still have several more months to go of this year, and it's going to get a little thicker. Let's just say that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Everybody that's like, all my astrology friends and all the psychic friends are like, yeah, it's not over yet. There's a lot coming.
Yeah. Well, because we're entering right now, August, September, and October are the peak of the cycle. So basically in numerology and in mathematics in general, we go from 1 to 9. So any number that you could think of, could be this long. It's the numbers 1 to 9 and 0. So when we get to the 8, 9, and 1, it's like this whole major kind of rounded peak of the cycle. If you think of September, it's like the unofficial new year. People want to do new things. They want to start new projects, and it's even bigger than New Year's. I mean, people just have this fresh sense of I want to do. So that's why eight is the number of abundance and manifestation, and it's about opportunities falling into your lap. Watching out for the breadcrumbs, the signs, and then 9 is the highest change on every level. So September is going to be huge, and then October is 1, which is the number of new beginnings. So it's actually bigger than January, which is also a 1, but because it has the zero amplifies the energy. So we're talking about new beginnings, right? So October is the lead up to the election, of course, and that's that's going to be a major shift right there. I mean, when we see who's going to magically save the day, so to speak, with the whole COVID thing, and it's just. I think after November and going into the new year, things are going to be a lot more calm, a lot more. But the thing is, we're going actually into a global 5-year, which is huge because I left corporate under a personal year of 5 and a peak cycle of 5, which 5 is all about career. And it's all about going after what you're here to do. So the thing is with that, it's not just about career in the sense of finding a new job. This is monumental because people are finding their path and their purpose right now. So I'm finding that it is kind of like the rapture. It's like, people are leaving the planet who don't have a purpose that is global right now. And not to say that their purpose is any less important or any, less significant. It just means that they're not meant to be in this space in this time right now as we go through this major shift. So, if you haven't left the planet yet, or you're not feeling like this is the end for you, then you're likely going to move into a career that is global, that is something that is going to touch more than just your community or just a few people. It's not just a job. You're going to find your purpose next year, going into the next year. So next year is going to be even more powerful, but much more positive, because 5 is a number of the heart and emotions as well. So it's really like a passionate energy. It's like, okay, I've been through hell and back, let's do this, And so I think that it is true, the lower we go, the higher we jump. It's like a cat. The lower the cat crouches, the higher it can jump. So this bringing us down to bare bones, wrecking the U.S. and it's just that U.S. is the hub of the world, but now we're the laughing stock of the world. So it's like, how much lower can we get? We're going to get pretty low. It's going to be, third world country-ish before we get. And then the millennials, I love them because they're just, fabulous people. And they're just so positive about rebuilding this whole thing. So you and I are kind of in the in-betweeny group, like the Gen X and the, that weird, like, we knew about new age spirituality. The millennials are like, what's a white light bubble? Like, they don't really get that whole thing. So it's an interesting, we're kind of the bridge between the boomers and the millennials, but the boomers and the millennials are really going to be huge for rebuilding and transforming this whole thing. But we're kind of like the mediators. We're kind of like the ones that are going to be the bridge. So that's our role in, the Gen X. That's kind of our role in the whole scheme of things.
Interesting.
We're kind of lighting the way. So we're saying, okay, you want to rebuild, you want to do this with the world, this is how you do it. So you're coaching people, showing them the way, really. And that's what I do with numbers, is showing them truth, showing them who they are, showing them the way. So that's really our path and our purpose for that age group.
That is so interesting. That makes so much sense. Looking at the way things are makes so much sense. Tell me about like predictive numerology. So let's talk about the election.
Dare we? I may not live to see tomorrow if I talk about that.
Oh no, cancel. Because there are a lot of people saying that he's going to get reelected. There are a lot of people saying that he's not going to get reelected, but he's going to stay in office any way he can. There are other people who are like, somebody's going to come out of the blue. So as far as numerologically speaking, do you see anything coming up in those regards? Is Kanye going to win is what I'm asking.
No. Sorry, Kanye. I'm really sorry, but It's not going to happen, brother. Trump actually has double fours in his date of birth. So the thing is, he was all about coming in and shifting foundation. I mean, that when I was talking about the 22-4, this year in particular, this was the year because we have not only the 22-4 energy, but someone in office who has double fours in their date of birth, which means that they are very focused on outward money, power, materialism. They want to shift, the foundations of everything, but it's all outward focused. So what's going to happen really is the fact that can he get reelected and then move into a 5 energy, which is the number of the heart and emotions, and really people are going to be really tuned into the truth and wanting to move forward. Is someone like that going to be able to lead that energy? Likely not. So for me, I really feel like as much as I want to say, damn, it's like he looks like he's going to get reelected. Like it's really not looking so healthy. But I really believe that as it gets closer, he is a malignant narcissist or sociopath or whatever you want to call him. I mean, he does have those tendencies. So people are starting to realize and see him for what he is, and realizing that they don't want this focus on money, power, greed anymore. They want to, they've had enough of it. They're sick of it. So, I just can't see him being reelected. I mean, I just don't see it fitting within the scheme of the energy. It's just not really feasible. So when I talk about numbers, they're really, they can't lie. Numbers are, it is what it is. A 4 is a 4, and a 5 is a 5, and these are the energies and these are the patterns. So it's like when you're born into a specific point in the energetic systems that make up all things. So it's like these waves that flow through us, these radio waves, all of these things. It's the same thing. We are born in this timeline, and that's your pattern. So your pattern is your pattern, and we can't really, we can modify it as we go because energy can be molded and shifted and all of that stuff, but it can't be destroyed. So as we move along, we can grow and evolve, but it's still our pattern, if you know what I mean. So he really can't be the leader and move us into this 5. It's just not going to happen. So that's my prediction. Hopefully I survive the day.
Right.
But
does Biden fit into that 5?
No, he doesn't either. I mean, when you said someone coming out of the blue, I mean, Kanye kind of did, but there may be another, because I really feel like there hasn't been a decision or a shift in energy made yet. So it's like it's still in limbo, but it's getting very close. I think this month in particular is a lot of things are going to come up because it's an 8. 8 is all about, like I said, opportunities falling into your lap. People need to watch out for the breadcrumbs. Like for individuals, especially, if someone, let's say, stopped you on the street and said, "Hey, what have you been up to? I haven't seen you in forever." And you tell them what you're doing, and they're like, "Oh, you should talk to so and so," and your mind might say, "Well, yeah." But your heart is like, yeah, I should talk to them. There's something about that. So go talk to them because they have a breadcrumb for you. They have like another piece of the puzzle for you. So it's really a good time to follow your heart and not your head, because this is when opportunities are going to start flying left, right, and center this month. So not only on a personal level, but a global level. So seeing someone else coming up, stepping up to the plate for office is very, very, very likely.
I mean, that's one of the things that I keep feeling, that there's something else somewhere else happening.
Yeah, it's
there's
gonna
a
be
lot of
shocker. I think it's
Yeah.
going to be a shocker. Like we're going to say, what? I mean, Kanye was a little bit of a sideswipe, but we kind of felt like, yeah, okay, buddy. But this other person, we're going to be like, okay, they're real. Like this is the real deal. But it's going to be a shocker. I think like people aren't going to really feel like, but we're all going to be like, yes. So just wait for it. I think around mid-month, maybe towards the 3rd week, I think, is really when it's going to heat up, and really the election stuff is really going to come front and center, and people are going to start kind of amping up again with it because there's this new person on the scene. So it'll be interesting.
Totally. If Michelle Obama says I'm running for office, I'm going to be like, 100%.
Right, exactly. No, I think it's going to be somebody we don't even suspect, but it's going to be somebody who's like exactly what we need. Exactly. So it's all going to be good. Like I think that people feel this doom and gloom and the sense of hopelessness and helplessness right now because of all the COVID and it's like, where do we go from here? How do we pick up the pieces? And that's just it. There is so much hope because what I see in my own life as well and other, throughout the almost 23 years I've been doing this, it's always been the lower you go, the higher you jump. And even Wayne Dyer said that before he passed. That was one of his big things, is that the lower you go, the higher you're going to jump. So we are headed for such a huge, monumental, astronomical shift. It's just incredible. It's like I'm so humbled and blessed to be alive in this moment in history because it's like a 90-degree shift. It's huge. I mean, we're taking leaps and bounds in our spiritual and inner growth. Not just, it's just amazing.
Yeah, I've never heard so many people talking openly about spirituality, and not in the religious sense, but in the sense
very practical. Yeah,
very practical. We're all connected, all of that.
Right.
Like, it's like watching that happen is amazing.
Well, think about it. I mean, I think, being at home, stuck at home, and being in close quarters with people that we're not necessarily always spending a whole lot of time with, I think that we're developing that sense of being able to tune in more to people. Plus, the fact that the whole globe is suffering right now, and I think that a lot of sensitive people are realizing and feeling that wow, that oneness, that connectedness, that energy that's saying, I feel you. And so there a lot of times throughout the years, I'd always say that, especially on interviews on mainstream TV, because they always wanted you to be practical. So I'd always go about it in the practical spirituality sense, because, if you go too religious or too new agey, people don't want to really hear it. But that's where people are going right now. It's very practical. It's like, okay, we are more than just a bunch of cells. We actually have a conscious force within us, and it's not anything taboo or metaphysical. It's science. It really is just science. It's quantum physics. It's not metaphysics. It's quantum physics.
Love that.
Yeah.
So you mentioned about we're going towards a third world kind of the developing world kind of thing. Can you kind of elaborate on that? Is that something that you see as inevitable? Is it something that has been triggered for a while? What is it?
Well, I mean, think about it. Financially, we're headed for a downfall because, I mean, we've been afloat for a little while now. I mean, they've given us, the stimulus check or whatever, cut some business, but that's really not enough. And people have been dipping into their savings to survive. People are out of work. It's just inevitable that there's going to be some sort of a major recession or depression. I'm leaning more towards more of a depressive state in the economy, and that's a scary thought. But the thing is, we're learning not only the whole spiritual stuff right now, we're learning how to survive with minimalistic stuff, and we're not going to the hair salon. We're not going to. So we're actually learning the skills right now and learning that way of life to be able to survive that. So we're being prepared. It's like, I feel like we're being trained or prepared to actually move through this depression, and it won't last that long, because I think the millennials and the boomers are going to come and swipe it up and save the day. Because for the last 3 years, I've had nothing but boomers coming to me and saying, Michelle, I've done this job all my life, and now I want to do this. So it's like something drastically different. Like they're all entrepreneurial now. They're all, I mean, even the mom and pop shops are going online. So we're going to see major crushing of the financial stuff. The thing is that the one thing I'm worried about is the fact that people are going to get desperate. People are going to maybe start robbing people, start, for bread or for money. I mean, it could happen. And it really, seriously, in this whole depression thing where people aren't coping so well mentally, their mental health is suffering, that they may do desperate things like that in a time of depression. So it's the time to really be cautious, but also we're being prepared too. So it's It's okay. It's going to be okay. You know, we're going to move through this. It's not going to be overly pretty, but we're going to come out the other side much better for it. So,
I like your positivity.
well, you know, we are being prepared. We're being groomed. I mean, you know, we can't go get our nails done. We can't get our hair done. We can't shop like we used to, go dining like we used to. So we're getting minimalistic, and that's what you need to do in the time of financial crisis, right?
I'm really turning inward. Like,
yes, it's forcing us inward.
Yeah.
And that's all we need. It's like, we don't need all these things. We're realizing, hey, you know, maybe I don't need to spend money on that all the time. Or maybe, you know, they're learning to live without all of these unnecessary things. Like when I was younger, I always used to say, I wish we could go back to the Little House on the Prairie days, because it's so simple. You know, people were family oriented and they loved each other and they didn't need to wear makeup and do this and do that, you know? So it was like
something I've never said.
I know, but it's beautiful, right? It's like, I know. But you know what I'm saying? It's just like, it's so simplistic and so easy to live that way without having to have all these things that you know, we feel like we need to make us whole, which we don't. So that's the whole thing. It's like, I think we're going to get back to basics. That's really my theme of the whole thing, back to basics, because we're being forced inward. We're being forced to cultivate family connections more, cultivate, you know, relationships and interconnections with ourselves. We were disconnected for so long. We were always outward focused, you know, get that new car, get the house, get the bank account, the bling, you know, all that stuff. And now we're like without it. So what else do we do but go within? That's really all we can do. So it's a beautiful thing.
We've been chasing after just surviving too. Like, we've been so damn busy.
Yes.
That nobody's been able to sit with themselves and figure out who they are and what they want.
Right. But it's starting, the tables are turning in the second half of the year, because we were chasing, trying to hang on to all of those bling things and the money and the, you know, trying to hold on to that life that we had. But then we let go. We had to let go. We had to surrender. We had to stop, because it's not going to come back. It's, you know, we're realizing that the, you know, new normal, or whatever they want to say, you know, we are making a new normal, but it's not masks and all that. The new normal is something much more profound.
Interesting. Oh, profound. Is there?
I gotta throw those words in there, right?
What up? Well, you said profound, and I was like, oh, what do you think?
Well, it's more profound in the sense, like we were saying, you know, we're having a deeper connection. We're readjusting to having a soul again. I mean, we had our soul over here for a long time. It was like we'd go through life almost like on autopilot, like we were drones, and we just, you know, I had so many friends who had relationships that I couldn't see how they worked, because they were just so superficial. They weren't deep enough to be a long-lasting relationship. And I think that's why the divorce rates are so high. And, you know, there's probably going to be a lot of divorce after this COVID thing, because people spending so much time together and not really going inward enough yet. So those kinds of things. But it's really forcing us to have a deeper connection all the way around to the earth, to all that is, you know. And I know that sounds really woo-woo, airy-fairy, but it's true. It's like we're really getting down to the core of what being a human being is all about. So it's, and that's why people like Trump are starting to really come undone. You know, their mask is slipping, and they're just, I mean, he's looking really crazy these days. So the thing is, those kinds of people are having the most difficult time transitioning into these higher frequencies, into this higher level of existence and this perspective. Because that's really what it's about. When we're moving up into a higher frequency, it's like we're looking at the earth higher and higher and from a higher perspective. So we can see further out and see the bigger picture and see more of what being having a soul in a human form is all about. So
that's good. So what are the numbers saying about the duration of the pandemic? Is there any?
Well, I feel
like this is not good news.
Well, for me, I've always been skeptical about the whole COVID thing. I know that there are people dying of it, and I understand, and I lost a close friend recently from that, but it was actually, there was secondary complications. But long story short, I never hear anybody coughing. I never hear anybody sneezing. I never, I feel like they are amplifying. The media is really making it, and also Trump and the whole, it's a whole convoluted thing. It's a whole, I don't know how to say it, but it's just like, it's blown out of proportion, because if you look at the numbers from SARS and all of the other pandemics that we had, the COVID is nowhere near those numbers yet, but yet we're forced to believe, and they didn't shut down anything. They didn't, people were dying then as well, but they didn't shut down anything. We weren't forced to quarantine or wear masks, but yet this one we are. So, and even though the numbers aren't nearly as close or as high as they were with the SARS and the other pandemics. So to me, it just seems like there's ulterior motives there. I mean, it's very clear. So the thing is, I'm not overly concerned. And I know that there are some people who are very deathly afraid to go out of their house, or I still follow the rules. I put the mask on, the whole 9 yards. But I really feel like there's more to it than meets the eye with this. And take the precautions you need, but don't go into hysteria mode, because it's not necessary.
I don't disagree with you on that. I have noticed, and not only because of the pandemic, only because of Trump, but the media and everything is just really amps up the fear. And it's they're trying to tap into, or well, they're successfully tapping into our lower vibrations. Now, I don't know where I stand on it being a pandemic or being, I don't know where I stand. I do know that, like you said, take precautions and.
Right. Yeah, it's a real thing. The virus is real. It's a real pandemic. I'm just saying that they're hyping it up more than it is. So is it, going to get worse and another round and all this stuff? It very well could, because we're going to get the flu season. We're going to get another mutation of a virus, which happens every year. We have the flu, which some people get the flu shot, but it's only 35% effective because of the fact that it's always mutating. So yeah, we very well could get another round of this, because it is typical flu season coming up in the fall months. But again, is the media and all of this is going to hype it up more than it is? Probably, but still take the precautions, because we probably will have another wave of, a heightened number of people getting sick. But will it be worse than the first? No, I don't think so. I think that we have a dip, and now we're going into it again, but it won't be more extreme than the first wave. It'll just be another wave, and then the election will come, and things will magically get better. To some degree. What I mean by that is the virus is real, and people, like I said, I'm not saying that it's a pandemic or that people are, but what I'm saying is the hype will stop. So it's like bringing the fear factor down to a whole other level, so that they're not scaring the crap out of us all the time, and they're not tapping into those energies. They're just letting it ride its course the way it's supposed to. So that's really what I mean by that.
What are ways that we can bring in numbers and numerology to calm us, to get us more centered, to kind of tap into the higher vibrations?
Well, it's interesting, because recently I've been seeing 1111 again, and I
Me too.
Isn't it interesting? Because I always see it in waves. It's like it comes and then it goes. And lately I've been seeing it like crazy, which tells me there's a huge shift coming. There's something, but it's very positive. There's something really positive going to happen, because every time I see it, it's always an energy that makes me feel good. That makes me feel like something big's coming, but it's a good big. So that's definitely a positive sign that whoever, the globe, we're focusing inward now, more so, I think, and it's more of a positive spin. So I think people are getting in touch with their intuition more. Like 2 is a number of intuition and sensitivity. So if you have double 2s or a 2 in your date of birth, focus in on, definitely that trait, because that's something that is a power for you, that is a gift. Some people that I know have double 2s, and they're really uber sensitive right now to the energies of the world, and it's really affecting them on a spiritual level. So they need to take a lot of time away and be alone to kind of assimilate and integrate things. So if you have any of the soul plane numbers, like the 5s, I know someone has double 5s in their date of birth, which is another heart-centered energy. So take advantage of those, and also help others around you, because if they are having a tough time really tuning into that soul-centered place where we can be calm for a minute and just not focus on anything, then help other people do that. Maybe just spend some time with them, grab a cup of coffee, because sometimes just being with people who have that kind of energy really make you feel so much better. Their presence is crucial to your life right now if you are lacking that kind of ability.
Do you suggest ever meditating on numbers, like to kind of
I do numbers meditation, actually, and it's very powerful. It's something that I do in a group, and people pick a number from a bowl, and it always works. Just like when I do the cards, like I'll take a regular deck of cards and actually just pull 3 cards. I'll shuffle the deck, and it's so accurate every single time. And I go around the room and do it, and people are like, "Wow, that was like so accurate." So we do this whole bowl thing, and people meditate during the session, and they look at their number spinning, and with their eyes closed, and what's the texture, what is the message it's giving you, what color is it, all of this. And then after the fact, I explain to them what the number means numerologically versus what they got in messages and all of that, and it always matches. It's always like super bang on. People are like, hang on, yeah, I'm on a sorry, I'm on a video thing, just hold on, I'll be out. Sorry. So I should have put a note on there, because yeah. Well, we're at home in the pandemic, so
yeah,
we got to cope with how it goes, how it rolls.
I mean,
so the number of meditation, it was so accurate. It was so right. It was like every time I would do it, people would be like, really? Like, yeah, it was just, it was so much fun. So I do that a lot. But, if you have a particular number you're seeing all the time, number sequence, or, that kind of thing, you want to make sure that you look it up, because it's definitely a message or some sort of sign that is trying to guide you, because I've never not seen a number sequence not mean something. Like in Calgary, when I lived in Calgary, there was this big burly tattoo artist who wasn't spiritual at all. And he's like, "Oh, you're a numerologist." And it was at this trade show. And he said, "I see 1234 all the time. And I have no idea why." So I explained to him why he might be seeing that, and he was blown away. But it's usually individualized, so you have to look at your date of birth too. And I know that sounds a little complicated, but there's a lot of information online, or contact me and I can explain it to you, because at this point in time, I'm definitely keen on helping anybody who needs the help. And it's not about the money, it's about just helping people. So if you have a quick question about like, why am I seeing 1234, hit me up on Facebook or social, Instagram or whatever, right? So I can quickly answer that for you.
I love it. So I'm a 6.
Oh, okay. So 6 is,
yeah.
Are you a 33-6, or if you add it up, if you add each individual digit, like let's say I'm January 4th, 78. So if I said 1 + 4 + 1 + 9 + 7 + 8. So you have to add each individual number. So it matters if you're 6, if it's a 33-6 or just a 6, because that's a whole different vibration. So add each individual number. Like let's say you're
7.
So your year has to be like 1 + 9 + whatever. Like
right.
The whole thing, individual. Does it add to 33?
No.
24?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So
am I doing the numbers right in my head?
Well, I'll tell you, if it's just the 6, I have to believe you're probably more in the line of the 33-6, but I'll do your numbers after the fact, just to be sure. But a 6 in general, a 6 is the visionary. They are able to see the bigger picture for other people when they can't see it for themselves. So I call them the dot connectors. They're like, someone could come to them and say, I'm having a hard time with this issue. What do I do? And you come along and you say, well, it's like this, this, and this. So, and they're like, I didn't see it like that before. I totally didn't, see the whole thing for what it was. So you're kind of like that one that comes in and puts the puzzle pieces together for other people. And it's so crucial right now to have visionaries like that can come in and just help. I mean, with your coaching, obviously you do that, but 6 is also the motherly nurturer. It is very much about being caring while you're doing this. So it's very like a nesting homey energy, like Starbucks, for example. The name Starbucks has done so well as a brand because it adds to a 6. So when you go into Starbucks or you see people in their PJs at Starbucks in the lineup, they're feeling comfortable because Starbucks is a 6 and it's homey, it's nesting, it's nurturing, it makes you feel like you're, a warm hug kind of thing. So you get your cup of joe and you feel at home. And so people set up shop there with their laptops and whatever. So you make people feel comfortable, but also give them the greater picture. You're like the comfy oracle or something, like. So
totally, that's what my new title is going to be, the comfy oracle.
There you go. So the thing is with the 6s, that's why I say you have a global purpose, because you're, it's seeing the greater global picture for people, seeing where they fit in now, where they're going to go from here. So you can, obviously see that you're going to stick around and no one's going to kill me off anytime soon again. I might have a 4th near-death experience. I don't know, but but I think, you and I are going to be kicking around for a while. So
I love that. I said this year that I've got 15 more years and then I'm gonna have a big party and then say goodbye to everybody and be like, okay, I'm done.
No.
It's been really rough, and now I feel like I'm hitting my stride. So I find that very interesting that you say that there's a global purpose for me, because one of my friends who's an astrologer has been saying things like that recently. I find that really great.
Right.
So we do have a question. How do you determine if a business name has good numbers?
Well, we were just talking about Starbucks, for example. So when it's all about brand. Brand is everything, like Nike or Nike, however you want to pronounce it. Their slogan is just do it. And if you add just do it, it's a 3, which is the number of inspiration and imagination. So why have they done so well? Because their brand matches their message. It matches. So it has to match with what you're trying to attract or who you're trying to bring into your business. So if you have, I don't know, hair salon, you want to attract a certain kind of clientele, the brand and the number. So assigning value to the letters. There's a little chart you follow. You add it up and see what it adds to. And every single time, it doesn't matter what brand you do. It's just like names. We think our name is just random and our mother just slapped it on us and we have to be stuck with it. It's always representative of our personality or how the world sees us. It's always matching. So same thing with brand. You can tell if a business is going to fail or succeed just based on adding up the numbers. Like Target, for example. Target struggled there a bit with financial stuff. It's an 8, and they had that whole breach, and they were in the news for a while. It's hit or miss with an 8, because an 8 can be very detached, independent, but it's also business oriented. And so that's why they were kind of in an upheaval a little bit here and there. So 8 may not necessarily be great for Target or optimal, but it works for them overall because it is a business number. But it definitely, with the business, it has to match who you're trying to attract. So for example, my business name, Michelle Arbeau, which is my name, that's my brand, it's a 7. 7 is the number of truth, or the truth seeker. So what do I do with numbers? I show people the truth. I give them their truth. I reveal their truth to them. I show them who they really are, what they're here to do, and how to do it. So your brand has to match that.
Interesting. And so I'm going to go check all my company names.
Oh, there you go.
And see where they stand. That's some good information.
Oh, I love this because you've got DNM as your little acronym, and that's a 4. So it's the bridge energy. It's perfect because really 4 is that foundation shifting, right? So you're helping people build a new foundation. You're helping people, we've talked about the 4, the square and its 4 sides. It's like a house foundation, right? So you're building up, up, up. And so they come to you and you're like the bridge, you're highlighting. People are like, well, how do I get from point A to point B? And you're like, you do this, 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 and this, like stepping over the bridge. So a lot of people don't know how to get from point A, which is like the job they hate, the life that sucks,
right,
to point B, which is living your path and your purpose and your dreams and going after what you want to do. So they see this big black abyss in between the A and the B. So you're like the highlighted bridge.
I like that. Yeah. Oh, that's so good.
Yeah. So you branded well.
Are people attracted to numbers? Am I attracted to number 3s and 7s? What does that mean?
Well, 3 and 7 are actually the 2 numbers that are associated with the arrow of spirituality. Like the Dalai Lama had the arrow of spirituality. They're very linked in the sense that 3 is the first mind plane number. So it's really that gateway to the mind. And then 7 is that number of truth, the deep philosophical number of truth. So it's like the mind searching for truth or trying to, so they're very much intertwined. That's why they're at the head and the tail of the arrow of spirituality. So seeing those 2 numbers, it's really driving someone to take notice of spirituality. And, our mind is the tool to analyze a lot of stuff in our life, of course. So that's taking you to a higher perspective or wanting you to go to a higher level of understanding.
I tend to, because my birth month is 5 and my birthday is 2, tend to see a lot of 5s and 2s or 7s.
Yeah, so that's interesting because, again, 7, the deep philosophical number of truth, searching for truth, but 2 and 5 are the first 2 soul plane numbers. So 2 is the number of intuition and sensitivity. 5 is the number of the heart and emotions. So it's all about soul energy. You're really focused in on the soul. So again, that's the kind of work that you're meant to be doing and the kind of energy you're meant to be focused on. So it's perfect. It's actually guiding you towards your goal, to your destiny, to what you're meant to do.
Oh, this is so good. I just love talking to you because I always feel uplifted.
Well, I am a 3.
Los Angeles, mostly I just feel oppressed and depressed. And
I'm always super optimistic. I've always been like that. I'm a 3, which is the number of inspiration and imagination, but I'm a pure 3. So I'm all about, that's my one track focus with whatever I'm doing, is uplifting and inspiring other people, just because for me, even as a kid, I just always saw everything was going to be okay. Everything was going to work out. Everything. I never really, I don't know. I just had that, I've kept that naive innocence about me that, if somebody came to me and said they wanted to be president, I'd believe them. I'd be like, okay, cool. And I'm always rooting for people too. I'm never like, oh, that's good, and be jealous. Never. Like, I'm always like, yeah, go for it. If somebody wanted to do numerology and be the best, I'd be like, please do. Like, we'd love some competition and also some help in the industry. It's like, right. So I'm just like rah rah. Like I have my own built-in cheerleader, I guess. I don't know.
I love it. I am an undercover pessimist. Like, everybody thinks I'm so positive, but I'm like, inside, I'm like, everything's gonna burn down. We're gonna die. Everything's falling apart.
If you think that, then it's gonna happen, right? So don't.
But then I'm like, it's fine. Everything's fine. But inside,
it's true that I've manifested a lot of what I've manifested just by believing and saying, I can do this. And just totally believing it, like believing my own crap. It's like I just knew I could do it. So I went and did it, and it happened. So a lot of people ask me, like, Michelle, how did you accomplish so much in such a short amount of time? And I'm like, I just did it. I just went out and did it and made it happen. So I didn't really focus in on everything's going to burn or everything's what if this or what if that. I'm not a what if this or what if that person. I'm just okay, well, give me the idea. Let's do it. Let's roll. And I actually have all the physical numbers on the chart and all of the most active numbers on the chart. So for me, it's like I'm a doer. I just go do it. I don't think much about it. I roll with it. So.
Same. And then I get my feet in, and then I'm like, oh God, that was not what I wanted.
And then also, I don't look at it as any, failure or mistakes.
Yeah.
It really isn't. It's just choice. If you don't like what happened or how it turned out, choose again. Make another choice.
Choose again, 100%.
Right.
I love that. So let's kind of wrap it up. Big picture for the next 2 to 3 years.
Like I said, we are going into a huge career, global purpose kind of energy. And then we're going to take it up a notch the next year, which is a 6, the number of creativity, creative expression. But it's also, like I said, the visionary. So it's taking that, it's expanding on all of that, finding your path and your purpose and blowing it up to the global level. So it's huge. And then we have the 7-year after that, which is, again, the deep philosophical number of truth. It's really getting to the core of that humanity thing, that spirituality part. So it's really taking us in that direction, reconnecting with all of that stuff we lost through the millennia and all of that stuff. So it's huge. It's I mean, the history books are going to be awesome when they write all this out, because it's going to be great. I mean, the next 3 years I'm really looking forward to them.
Awesome. Will they write them in an unbiased way, is my question.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Well, there's going to be a lot of books written, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, definitely after all this is said and done. But and I'm definitely going to write something about it for sure. But I'm letting it play out first. I'm letting it ride out, and then yeah. So it's positive. I mean, we're gonna be okay. Everything's gonna be okay.
Yeah.
So kill that inner pessimist and just know that everything is going to be okay. I mean, you're here to do something big. So just keep believing that, because it's the truth.
Awesome. Thanks. So you can find Michelle's books. Let me pull them up. The Energy of Words and Soul Numbers, they are on Amazon, and you can go to our website, michellearbeau.com. And on all the social media,
it's just at Michelle Arbeau for the most part. Or if you go on Facebook, I think it is celebrity numerologist Michelle Arbeau, or my profile is just Michelle Arbeau. So just Google my name, you'll find me. I'm everywhere. I get around. I'm always here or there. So.
And if for some reason you can't find it, message me, and I will be happy to put people in the right direction. Courses, classes, online things coming up?
Yeah, I'm working on some new courses, classes, especially with all of this, soul shifting stuff. But, revamping my numerology course. A lot of people are taking that right now just because they have the time. I haven't really done any live events, but I'm going to start doing some on Zoom. So, and you've got this great platform going on, so I'll have to pick your brain on that one. But
for sure.
I definitely want to get back into that. I was kind of in crisis mode myself for a little while, trying to shift where I was going. So yeah, I'm getting back in the game and getting back, taking clients again and being more active and less in the planning phase.
I love it. Well, Michelle, thank you so much for your time and your expertise. And it's so lovely to see you and connect again.
Yes, always a pleasure. Thank you.
Awesome. And everyone can find me at DinaNinaMartinez.com, as well as DNMPowered.com if you're interested in talking to me, setting up a discovery call for coaching, conscious coaching. Cool. Thank you all so much. Michelle, thank you once again.
Thank you, honey.
We will see you on the next one.
Okay.